Om Sai Ram. Let us understand chapter number 49, Testing the Saint and Control of the Mind. Before that, let us do the Namasmaran, followed by chapter number 49, and then we will conclude chapter number 49 with the Arti. श्री सच्चिदानंद सतगुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय। ओम श्री साई नाथाय नमः। 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 Om Sai Ram. Chapter number 49, Testing the Saint and the Control of the Mind. I bow down to Sri Ganesh, I bow down to Sri Saraswati, I bow down to the Guru, I bow down to the family deity, I bow down to Sri Sita Ramachandra, I bow down to Sri Satguru Sainath, where the Vedas and the Puranas have got exhausted praising the Satguru in all aspects. There I am, an ignorant person, an unenlightened, better be silent. Really speaking, to remain silent is the essence of the praise of the Satguru. But Sai's attributes are such that they make you forget to remain silent. Blessed are Sai's indescribable Leelas. When I realize that I cannot remain silent, when I find flavor of those delicacies to be sweet, I am reminded of the listeners. I feel they must join me in partaking them so that my own enjoyment is increased twofold. This is the reason for arranging this feast. If there is no friends or virtuous people to share them with, even the best of delicacies lose its flavor when one is alone. Sai has had all his wishes fulfilled. Sai is the adornment of all saints. Sai is the refuge of his devotees and the destroyer of difficulties of the whirlpool of life. I have no words to describe his Leelas. My speech is incapable of describing them. Inconceivable is he, and his skills are beyond understanding. How can I know them? He is the epitome of well being. That Sai, by his grace, reminds me of his stories. To complete this book, know that I try to sing of his indescribable greatness, but who is qualified to do so? When Para returns without doing anything, what can Pashyanti or Madhyama do? When all these three do not open their mouth, what can a fourth, this Vaikari, do? Though I know that fully, yet I am unable to control myself without being humble at the Satguru's feet. Self realization cannot be achieved. Saints are the embodiment of the Lord, and I seek their hand of blessing. Love for the Guru's feet. This itself is the attainment of everything. May the desire for the company of saints and the love for them be ours. He who is full of ego is not fit to be a devotee. He is a true devotee who is totally without ego, one who is arrogant because of his knowledge and vain because he considers himself great is only the personification of pride. How could he be a reputed devotee? Unfortunately, the ones who do not sing praises of their Guru and those who do not hear them despite not being deaf are the embodiment of dull wittedness. Practicing penance is better than pilgrimage. Observing vows and sacrifices and charity. Worshipping the Lord is better than penance, but meditation on one's own Guru is the best of all. Only Sai is the object of meditation for his devotees. Only Sai is the deity for worship. Only Sai is the hidden treasure which should be protected, but not in a miserly way. If sometimes I am lazy, Sai, who dwells in the innermost soul, is not. If I forget the story, he will give me a timely reminder. If I sit thinking quietly, I have no power to do so. The inspiration for the stories arise unexpectedly that I am compelled to take the pen in my hand and thus for the listeners to hear his unfathomable story and for my own selfish reasons he made me write the Satcharita. Even otherwise the stories of saints are created and written by them. If there is no inspiration from them they would be dull and dry at every step. So merciful Sainath entered my mind, got his book written by me, and also thereby fulfilled my wish. I am completely contented if I am constantly chanting Shri Sai's name, thinking about his sayings and meditating upon his form. Sai is deeply indebted to him who repeats Shri Sai's name, feels loved, and his heart is filled with happiness. There is no better means for breaking the bondage of this world. The story of Sai is very purifying and savoring in is it always gives happiness. Use the feet to circumambulate Sai. Use the ears to listen to the Satcharita. Embrace him lovingly with your whole body and use the eyes to have Sai's darshan. Come before him, rolling with eightfold prostrations, and place your forehead at his feet. Use the tongue only to remember his name, and use the nose only to sniff the fragrance of flowers that have already been offered to him. Now continue the story mentioned in the previous chapter of a devotee who had love for witnessing a miracle. I will narrate it as promised. He was not motivated by personal interest nor by any spiritual needs. He was ignorant of the greatness of saints. Yet, if he was told of the glory of saints, he would not believe that. His friends told the stories of Sai. He heard them but always found fault. And unless they were confirmed by his own experience, he refused to believe them. His name was Hari Kanoba. He left Bombay on his journey with friends to test Sai. But who can definitely know the skill of Sai, who illuminates everyone's innermost self? They are masterly and unique. Sai Samartha knew Hariba's intentions as soon as he left for Shirdi. He was desirous only for a miracle and he deserved only that. He gave him the taste of it and made him his devotee, making his journey worthwhile. Saints are truly able to devise their skills. At Kopargaon, Haribao took into a tonga with his friends. After having a bath in the Godavari River, they left for Shirdi without delay. After arriving from Kopargaon, he washed his hands and feet and then Haribao set off to have a look at the saint and to know him. Haribao was eager to have Sai Baba's darshan with a new pair of sandals on his feet and a zari embroidered turban on his head. Then, when he came to the masjid and saw Sai from afar, he felt like going near him and prostrating at his feet. But he had a problem with his sandal, and there are no safe place to keep them there. Finally, finding a corner there, he shoved them in. Then he went up for darshan, lovingly bowed at Sai's feet, took Udi and Prasad and returned and went to the Vada. When he went and put his sandals, he could not find them. After searching for a lot, he returned without them, quite morose, and with the hope of finding them. There was a large crowd coming and going. So, whom would he really ask? He could not think of a solution. Thus, he was in a disturbed state. The sandals alone appeared before his eyes, and his mind was concentrated on his sandals, and his whole mind was centered only on his sandals. He had bought them with great eagerness, but the sandals were gone and lost. He felt certain that they were stolen by some thief. So be it. Later, he bathed and after doing puja and naivedya, he sat down with the others to eat. But he was not at peace. The courtyard is Sai's. Who would have taken my sandals? After eluding Sai's eyes, is this a small wonder? He was full of regrets. He could not concentrate on his meal. He came out afterwards to wash his hands. In the meantime, a young Martha lad came there unexpectedly, waving the lost sandals at the end of a stick like a flag. A group of people were washing their hands after a meal. The lad was searching. He said, Baba has sent me, giving me this stick in my hand. He told me, son, go calling out for Hari, the son of Ka, with a jerry turban and give it to the one who claims it to be as his own and grabs them anxiously. But, but first ensure that it is given Hari, the son of Ka, and that he has a jerry turban. Do not make a big hue and cry. Hearing the boy's cry and recognizing his sandals, Haribau ran to him very surprised. Haribau's eyes was filled with tears of happiness and he was choked with emotion on seeing his lost sandals. He was greatly amazed. He said to the boy, come here, let me see. Bring sandals to me. Seeing them, he said, where did you find them? Tell me clearly. The boy said, I do not know all this. I am only following Baba's instructions. Whoever is Hari, the son of Ka, should know me and the jari embroidered turban. I will give the sandals to him only. I will not recognize anyone else. The person who satisfies these indications of Baba, he alone should take the sandals. Oh lad, these are my sandals only. Though Haribhau said so, he would not give them to him. Then he tried to convince the boy with all Baba's indications. He said, lad, I am the Hari, the son of Kanoba. These words are true in all respects. They apply to me everywhere. Now see this Jari embroidered turban. I will remove all your doubts. Then I will be recognized as the owner of the sandals, and no one else can claim them. The boy was then convinced. He gave the sandals to Haribau. His wishes were fulfilled. He experienced the Sai was truly a saint. He thought, though I have a jari embroidered turban, is it so novel? It was only on my head and visible to all. But I come from a distant place. This was my first trip to Shirdi. How did Sai Baba know that my name is Hari? Kanoba is my father, and nobody knows him or has seen him. He used to be addressed as Ka. I am amazed. Earlier, when my friends told me of the greatness of Sai as a saint, I did not believe them. I am truly repentant. Now that I have an experience, I have learnt Sai's powers. There is no room of doubt. Shri Sai, I know, is a very great saint. Now, one's experience is dependent on one's intentions. So was Haribhaus. He had a great desire to test the saint and had no thought of spiritual gain. Friends and relations narrated that Sai Samartha was a very great saint. The reason for going to Shirdi was to personally experience it or see a miracle, to offer your life at the feet of the saint you so that you can go and find God and not at all his wish. How far can this chameleon go? I had thought of seeing a miracle with reverence at the doors of a saint. Now the pair of new sandals has been received by me in my own hands. Even otherwise, they were only trivial sandals. If they were lost, what would have been a great loss? But thereby the mind's agitation would not have been resolved till they were found. They, there were two ways to attain the favor of a saint. One is devotion and the other is knowledge. The path of knowledge is deep and difficult. The means of devotion is simpler. If devotion is so easy and attainable, then why do not all follow it? For that, one needs to have the greatest good fortune. Then alone can it be attained. One who meets a saint only after lakhs of meritorious lives, only the happiness of association with a saint develops devotion. All of us just know about this daily existence where there is attachment, but we do not know what is detachment. When such is the state of mind, can it be called devotion? We will be granted our desires according to the strength of our own devotion. This is true for all times. There should be not a slightest of doubt in it. We who have gathered around Sai for material benefits day and night receive such gifts, but those who came for spirituality got that. Be it so. Here is another story of a person called Somadev Swami who came in person to Shirdi to test Sai in the year 1906 in Uttar Kashi. This person met Baiji, who was staying in the Dharamshala or a traveller's lodge. Baiji was a well known brother of the famous late Dikshit, where he was doing the Badri Kedar pilgrimage. He met him on the way. Leaving Badri Kedar behind, Baji came down and came across several resting places on the way and saw a group of travelers there. Amongst them was a person who later came to be well known as the Swami of Haridwar and was destined to come under Baba's guidance. This story about him is instructive. It will clarify Baba's nature. It will give pleasure to the listeners and happiness to all. When Bhaiji was on his way for the morning ablutions, he met Swamiji. While casually conversing, they came to like each other. When Bua was in Uttarakashi, down the Gangotri valley, about 70 kos from Dehradun, then that this meeting took place. Bua set out in the morning with a lota in his hand, and Baiji also set out for the same purpose to the same place. At first, their glances met. Later on the way, they made an acquaintance and inquired about each other's welfare with pleasure and contentment. During the conversation, they began to like each other and inquired about each other's whereabouts. You live in Haridwar and while I live in Nagpur. If perchance you come in that direction, give me the pleasure of seeing you. If you happen to come during the travel, purify our house and give us the pleasure. Come, give us the pleasure of serving you, and that it will give me the opportunity to be of a small service to you. Please remember me and bring your feet to my home. This is my request. May the Lord grant it. This conversation in this manner took place in the year 1906 near Uttarakashi. Both of them took down each other's addresses. When they reached the plains, they parted ways. When 5 years had elapsed and the time had come to be in contact with Sai, the Swami felt strong restlessness to meet Bhaiji. In the year 1911, Swamiji came to Nagpur. Hearing the stories about Sri Sai Nath gave him pure joy. Baiji gave him a letter of introduction so that he could reach Shirdi comfortably. Thus, planning the whole trip, Swami left Nagpur. When he got off Manmad, the train for Kopergaon was ready. There he got into a tonga and was happy, anticipating the darshan. Wherever you go, the behavior of saints and his ways of living differ from another. It was never the same everywhere. The conduct of a saint is not the same as the other. It is not the yardstick to evaluate their worthiness. Why should why should one have anxiety and when one goes for initial darshan of a saint? If one goes to watch their conduct only is depriving oneself of one's welfare. But Swamiji's bent of mind was such that many conjectures and foolish fancies arose. When he saw from a distance the flag of Shirdi, his imagination ran riot. All the other people with him, when they saw from a distance the flag fluttering with love and was over the top of the masjid, bowed to them with love. Though their hearts were anxious about Sai's darshan, they would have later on, yet they could not bear to disrespect his flag, which they saw. The darshan of the flags rouses a feeling of love. This is an experience known to all. It is the sign of loving devotion. There is nothing unusual about it. But seeing those flags from a distance, there arose innumerable fancy thoughts in the Swami wicked mind. Strange was the nature of his mind to have likings of flags. Is this an indication of sainthood? To put flags atop a temple indicates a deficiency in sainthood. If a saint seeks respect in this way, it is just to gain popularity. I cannot appreciate the greatness of such saints. It shows his imperfection. In short, in accordance with his opinion, Swami took a decision about the appropriate behavior of a saint and determined not to have Sai's blessings. It is useless having come here, he thought. And the Swami was greatly disgusted and definitely decided then to return to himself immediately. Is it the false pride to gain cheap popularity? Why does a saint need honor? From seeing flags, I can come to no other conclusion. The saint attracts people for his darshan by flying the flags to show his greatness. This is the very lack of saintliness. Why should I go for a darshan? What peace of mind can I get by such a darshan? This is a show flag of pride. I can have no satisfaction from it. He said, I better turn back and go home. Seeing him does not seem to have been any good idea. I have been truly disconcerted. Thus, his companions said to him, why have you come this far? Why should mere flags disturb you? Now we have come near Shirdi. How much more agitated would you be when you see the chariot, the palanquin, the horse, and all the complete paraphernalia? Hearing this, the Swami was all the more aroused. Not a few sadhus with tom-toms, palanquins, and horses full of airs have I seen. When he thought thus, Somdevji started to turn back. The idea of Shirdi is not good. Let me take again the road to the river bank. Then his traveling companions began to urge him, now that you have come this far, don't turn back. Let us go forward as we have come. Do not have these malicious thoughts. These flags are flying atop the masjid, have nothing to do with the saint. The, this saint needs no flags, no popularity, and no honor. It is the villagers who like this ornamentation. It is a symbol of devotion. Do not look at the flags. Just go and take darshan only. Do not stay there even for a moment. Then you can leave at once. In the meantime, as they were close to Shirdi, he felt that this simple advice he should remove this inquietude of mind so that he would not feel restless later. Be it so. When he saw Sai Samartha, were melted, his eyes were filled with loving tears and his throat choked. His experience supreme bliss, his eyes was just fully joyous and he felt anxious to roll in the dust of Baba's feet. Seeing that handsome and comely appearance, his eyes and his mind were wonderstruck, and he remained staring intently. He was captured by love. The evil thoughts evaporated from his mind. The mind melted with the joy of darshan. His eyes were absorbed in the divine form. Bua was deeply engrossed, gazing at a great saint. Somadev was supremely delighted. He felt at peace and desired to stay here forever. Merely by the darshan, all doubts disappeared. His mind became quietened. The sense of duality left him, and he experienced complete unity with the consciousness. He was tongue tied, and his eyes did not even blink. Supreme consciousness enveloped him. He was satisfaction personified. At first, he did not want to turn back on seeing the flags. Later, his eyes was filled with tears of excessive love. The eight sattvic emotions gushed forth. He was wrapped in Baba's love, where the mind is fully absorbed. That is our abode. He recalled these words of his own Guru. Bua was choked with love. Then Bua came forward slowly as he did so. Maharaj got into rage. He showered abuses, but that only doubled Bua's love. The great Baba's behavior was strange. He took an extraordinary form and displayed the avatar of Narasimha. It was close resemblance, leaving my false claims to me. Leave and go back to your home. Beware, if you ever come back again to my masjid, why do you need to take a darshan of one who flies flags over the masjid? Is this the sign of sainthood? Do not stay here even for a moment. Be it so. It later, this Swami, who was doubting Thomas, went into the courtyard, looked at Sai's countenance from afar. He could not remain quiet. These words are an echo of my own thoughts. Hearing them as they are stuck, his ears word to word, Bua remained rooted in shame and realized that Maharaj was omniscient. How foolish am I, and how wise is Maharaj? How wrong were my thoughts? And about him, how pure is his heart? Sai embraced some and touched some with his hand. He assured some and cast a merciful glance at some. He looked smilingly at some. He consoled some who had sorrow and gave Udi Prasad to some. Thus, he was satisfied with everyone and he made sure that everyone was satisfied. This being so, he was annoyed only with me. It seems that due to my earlier behavior, it was not anger but a lesson to me. It will be beneficial to me. Be it so. Later, that is what transpired. Swami got so absorbed in Baba that with Sai's grace he was purified and was a staunch devotee of Baba's feet till the end. May the strength of the potency of Sai's devotion remove all evil addictions and jealousy, give birth to peace, wealth, and patience, and make his devotees accomplish their goals. This movable and immovable world is full of celestial musicians, the servants of Kuber, the deities and demons. In the whole universe, Sai is all pervasive, one filling it uninterruptedly and truly. If he had not assumed a form and had always remained without a form, then was mankind would not have had the help and been obliged to all. In conclusion, if Sai had not taken form a part of his divine sport and not collected people, nor had opposed the wicked and villainous, then how would he have been favored for his devotees? Now the chapter is coming to an end. I am reminded of an incident. It is an example of Sai's teachings. Therefore, I think it will be beneficial to whosoever follows it. The incident is very short, and who remembers it will achieve his welfare. Therefore, listeners, I request your attention for the moment. Once the devotee Malsapati, along with Nana Sahib, were seated in the masjid. Listen to the wonder that took place. A rich gentleman from Vaijapur, who was keen on darshan of Samartha Sai, came along with his family. Seeing ladies in parda, Nana felt constrained and thought of getting up and leaving. Gives them space, greater freedom, and satisfaction. Therefore, Nana moved aside to get up. When Baba restrained him, he said, "Those who wish will come up. You can remain seated peacefully." He also had come for a darshan, but you came also. There is no problem was suggested to them. They came up and bowed to Baba. One of the ladies raised the veil while bowing. Seeing her incredible beauty, Nana was smitten. He was diffident to look at her openly, but he longed to do so. How would he behave? He was unable to control his infatuation. He felt ashamed in Baba's presence. Therefore, he did not raise his head, but the eyes strayed. Nana was in a dilemma. This was also Nana's inner state of turmoil. Baba, who was all knowing, knew of it. How could others know of it? They were left to unravel the meaning of words. Knowing Nana's baffled state of mind, Baba decided to bring him back to his normal self. Listen to the advice he gave. Nana, why is your mind disturbed? Let the senses behave according to their inherent nature. Do not interfere. Let there be no harm. Brahmadev had created this beautiful world, and it is our duty to appreciate its beauty. Otherwise, the creation will lose its value and charm. The mind will get steady and calm slowly and gradually. When the front door is open, I go to the back door. Where there is a pure heart, there is no difficulty whatsoever. If there is no evil thought, why should one be afraid of anyone? The eyes may do their work, then why should you be embarrassed? Madhavrao was there, and he had a naturally curious mind. To satisfy his curiosity, he asked for the meaning to those words. When Madhavrao asked thus, Nana said, "Wait for a little for the present. I will explain Baba's meaning when we are on the way to the Vada." When the conversation was about the general well-being was over, Nana bowed to Sai Samartha and started returning home. Madhavrao accompanied him. He immediately asked Nana, "What did Baba's words, the mind will get steady and calm down, and gradually mean? Explain the exact meaning." Nana did not feel inclined to tell the meaning. He tried to evade the matter. That created more suspicion in Madhav's mind and was restless. Then, opening up his heart, Nana told him all that had transpired there because of Madhavrau's insistence and unfolded the enigma. How very alert Baba is, no matter whose mind strays where, he himself is a witness to everything and he knows everything. The listeners must have been amazed on hearing this short but marvelous story. Seeing the deeper meaning, one would gain priceless steadfastness and seriousness. The mind is wavering by nature, but do not let it be unrestrained. Even if the senses are agitated, do not let the body be impatient. The senses cannot be trusted. Do not crave for sensuous pleasures. Gradually, by steady practice, the filvery will disappear. do not become a slave to the senses. They do not remain suppressed all the time. They should systematically be controlled considering the circumstances. Beauty in the object of the sense of sight. Beautiful objects should be seen fearlessly. Where is the need for shame and embarrassment? Only do not entertain evil thoughts, making the mind desireless. Observe God's creation. The ten senses will be easily controlled, and one would forget the enjoyment of the senses. The charioteer is the main cause to take the chariot to the right destination. Similarly, the intellect must remain always aware of the attraction of the senses. Just as the charioteer controls the chariot, the intellect, by subjugating the senses, controls the wayward body and the exceeding fickleness of the mind. Once, when a person becomes free from enjoyment of the body, senses, and the mind, he attains place at the feet of Vishnu. Such is the power of intellect. The eyes and all other senses should be thought of as horses, and beauty, enjoyment, excreta, whatever be the pleasures, should be considered as roads leading to hell. Even a trace of desire of sensory enjoyment destroys the spiritual bliss. Therefore, abandon it completely, and only then you will attain liberation. Even if outwardly senses are controlled, but inwardly there is attachment, the cycle of birth and death, the cycle does not come to an end. These sense objects are great and deadly destroyers. With the help of discriminating charioteer who keeps the reins in the hand with discriminant, then the horses will not go astray, not even in their dreams. If one is fortunate to have such a charioteer who is astute and who sacrifices one's needs, who is determined, skillful, careful, and clever, how can the abode of Lord be far away? The abode is of Parabrahma, and the other name is Vasudev. There are the highest state of being, the abode of the absolute and supreme. So be it. This chapter is now completed. The next chapter is even more interesting and will entertain the inner spirit of the virtuous devotees. Listen to it methodically. Be it so. In the end, Hemad offers himself at the feet of the Satguru, who is the more mover of the universe and the inspirer of the intellect, with deep gratitude. May there be well being. This is the end of the 49th chapter of the Shri Sai Samartha Satcharitra, written by the devotee Hemad Pant, impelled by saints and virtuous people, called Testing of Saints and the Control of the Mind. This is offered to Sri Satguru Sainath. May there be auspiciousness. Om Sai Ram. Now let us do the Aarti. Shri Sachidananda Satguru Sainath Maharaj ki jai. शिर्डी माझे पंढरपूर साई बाबा रमावर बाबा रमावर साई बाबा रमावर शुद्ध भक्ती चंद्रभागा भाव पुंडली जागा पुंडली जागा भाव पुंडली जागा याव याव अवके जन करा बाबा श्रीवंदन साई श्रीवंदन करा बाबा श्रीवंदन गणोपने बाबा साई धाव पाव माझे आई पाव माझे आई धाव पाव माझे आई वनेलो तांगण वने गचरण तुयासी पायन रूप तुझे प्रेमीन रंगीन अनंत पूजिम भवेव इन बने नमा तमेव माता पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धु सदा त्वमेव त्वमेव विद्याधैरङ्गमेव त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव आयनुमा चापसनियर्मा उद्याकना वापतन स्वभाव करोमि यद्यं सकलन्तरस्मै नारायण इति समर्पयामि अच्युतं केशवं रामनाम नारायणं कृष्णदामोदरं वासुदेवं हरे इदवं माधवं गोपिकाविलवं जानकीनायकं रामचन्द्रं हरे हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे श्री गुरुदेव दत्त सच्चिदानंद सद्गुरु साईनाथ महाराज की जय. Om Sai Ram. I urge all the devotees to read one chapter of the Sai Satcharitra daily and soak in Baba bliss. Baba bless you. Om Sai Ram.